The meeting is now called to order. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mrs. Becker.
Here.
Mr. Cancro.
Here.
Mrs. Chu.
Here.
Mr. Hahn.
Here.
Mrs. Lax.
Here.
Mrs. Reese.
Here.
Mr. Sealer.
Here.
Mrs. Shaw.
Here.
President Simmons.
Here, we have a quorum. Please rise to salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed and acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, the East Brunswick Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the Board of Education offices located at 760 Route 18, East Brunswick, New Jersey. Written notice was also provided to the Sentinel, the Newark Star-Ledger, the Home News and Tribune, and the Municipal Clerk of East Brunswick. All Board of Education meetings, with the exception of executive session discussions, are videotaped for later broadcast. It is the policy of the Board of Education that videotape meetings are not edited for any purpose. Individuals who speak at the board's public meetings should be aware of these videotaping rules. And good evening, everyone. Speaking of the Home News and Tribune, just want to make a few comments regarding a piece that was in the newspaper this morning, I think it was, a story on our school district. Now, understanding how long this district and for how many years we have been promoting respect and diversity in our programs, in our curriculum, and everything that we talked about at the last couple of meetings, I was surprised that the story this morning about the district didn't have any comments from the district. Nobody at this table had made a comment. I don't think a board member was asked to make a comment. I wasn't contacted by the Home News for this piece. Dr. Valesky, I think they gave you, what did they tell you, Friday? You had about 5 minutes to submit something
Friday.
and was not really given an opportunity to speak to them?
And I responded by a 4 o'clock deadline with an emailed comment.
Which wasn't included?
Which was not included.
And the piece ran today?
Correct.
So they had time to put that in?
Correct.
Okay, so there's that. And they also included some quotations, I suppose, from our board meeting 2 weeks ago at Hammersholt from some members of the public that spoke. What they did not include, and perhaps they watched the tape and they would have seen it, was that Mrs. Becker, you, Dr. Valesky, and me, the three of us made some pretty substantive remarks, along with some other folks here at the dais, and none of those comments or remarks were included in the piece.
Correct.
So I was very surprised that the piece was written that way, and would hope and would urge the Home News in the future, as they always have done, when they're going to write a piece about the district, to talk to the district. That might give a more of a 360 angle toward their story.
And a little background about what we've done in the past.
Well, such as? I mean, I think you have some things in the hopper now, too.
We do have some things in the hopper. We have, our district has been one that has really embraced the diverse cultures that make up our entire community. And that's representative in each of our 11 schools. And we have a list of activities and events that we do at each of our schools to promote awareness, positive cultures, and to make sure that our students feel safe in that environment. Now, do we do everything perfectly? Absolutely not. And there are things we have to improve upon. And we're working on that. So some of the things that we're going to kick off this year are assemblies and group discussions with students to talk about bias, to talk about the awareness of bias, to talk about the response, the reporting, and even the consequences when somebody does an act that's considered bias. Now, let me state that we had an assembly this morning, and one of the people presenting at the assembly was the bias liaison for Middlesex County from the prosecutor's office. And there's a distinction between what's bias and what's harassment. And we found out today that if somebody writes, for an example, a symbol or a statement on a public area, on a desk, for example, in a school, if there's no specific target, it's not bias, it's harassment. and the prosecutor's office doesn't treat it as a bias incident. So we've learned a few things during this process. So we're going to talk to the students. We're also going to start with the staff. I think before we wrap up this school year, we have to have a discussion among the entire staff about our responsibilities for identifying what's bias so we can help assist the reporting process. And then finally, there's one important component to this, to close this entire spectrum, and that's families. Families have to support what we do at schools. And we utilize Parent University for a lot of things, but I've talked to the staff, and we're going to try to focus Parent University next year on bringing families in to talk about bias awareness and about how they can help at home to close this gap between the staff, the students, and the families.
So you mentioned that at the assembly this morning at Hammersholt, the bias liaison from the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office attended. Thinking about, did they mention anything about where we are in terms of their other districts that they're responsible for?
They reported to me that we were among the lowest reporting in terms of bias in Middlesex County. That doesn't mean that we're bias-free, but in terms of our neighbors throughout Middlesex County, we are significantly lower.
What about the kinds of incidents?
They use the term softball. Their term was that our bias incidents don't rise to the significant level that other districts are.
Are they talking about criminal?
They are talking, in some cases, criminal.
Mrs. Becker.
Thank you. Forgive me, I have laryngitis, but the microphone's going to help. Dr. Valesky, in the article this morning, there were several people quoted as saying that there have been numerous and multiple incidents of biases, particularly anti-Semitism, over the years, even going back a decade.
Right.
Do we have, as we know, each of these things are reported and also reported to the police. Where is the documentation for all these events?
The police have the documentation for every event that we've reported, but the documentation for some of these events is something I can't put my hands on.
So I think that we are all prone to say that we heard something happened, and we'll often hear that from our kids. And kids will often repeat something that they heard. And we have kind of a game of telephone. Not that there isn't any basis in a reality of the start, of a genesis of a situation, but I think we should all be aware of the fact that we do not have documented decades worth of anti-Semitism and other hate crimes in this district. I also second what Todd and Dr. Valesky say about parents. Dr. Valesky said the assembly started in Hammersholt today. Ask your children, what was the assembly about? Do you have any questions? Think of ways that you can talk to them about your philosophy. Bring your faith into it. Go to your particular house of worship, your clergy. Ask them to maybe talk to the kids at Sunday school. We as a community need to take ownership of what we perceive as troubling events in our district. And I have every faith that we will. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Dr. Valesky.
If I could,
Yeah.
Mrs. Becker reminded me of something. Detective Brian Adams, who is our school district student resource officer, he's based primarily at the high school in Churchill, but he services Hammersholt as well. And he made a very compelling statement to the students this morning. He said to the students, think about how you want to be treated. Think about how you want your families to be treated. And I think that struck home with a lot of students because it was about them and their families. How do they want their heritage represented? So I think it made some of your students, if you have students at Hammersholt, it made them start to think because there were some very, very powerful questions that came from some of the students.
And we will be having assemblies at other schools?
We plan assemblies and small group forums because we're going to customize it based on each group of students. And I think it has to be done that way because not one size fits all.
Right.
But we do want to be respectful of the audience that we're presenting to.
But Churchill and the high school are in plans, their plans for
They
that?
will be in plans as well as elementary schools.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, since you've had the floor, next is your report.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Nice to see such a nice big crowd here tonight. There must be presentations going on. The impressive artwork on display in the boardroom was created by students from Churchill Junior High School. The art teachers are Darren Amy, Deborah Manzuna, Kim Valdetta, and Peter Zakora. The principal is Mark Suter. Keep Middlesex Moving Incorporated is Middlesex County's nonprofit transportation management association. KMM is affiliated with the Middlesex County Improvement Authority. Since 1988, KMM has partnered with commuters, employers, local county, and state government to reduce traffic congestion and improve air quality. East Brunswick Public Schools received the prestigious New Jersey Smart Workplaces 2017 Bronze Award, developed by the New Jersey Department of Transportation and the state's TMAs. Bella Voce and Concert Choir received the high score Superior for their performances at the American Choral Directors Association Festival at Rutgers University. They also received the score of Superior for their musical literacy skills as applied to sight singing portion of the day. This is a huge accomplishment, and we are very proud of the hard work and the artistry the students displayed on the stage. The Arts Department was fortunate to receive a grant from the East Brunswick Education Foundation to help create a virtual choir. The 174 students and faculty members recorded themselves using a virtual conductor. The videos were uploaded and synced together to create a full choir that has never met before. Please join me in standing for the Star Spangled Banner.
Okay, pressure's a little for Joyce.
Or the nearly Star Spangled Banner.
Maybe Ed could help.
Technology.
Here we go. It was a double click, not a single. You'll have to sing for me.
It worked in practice.
It did, many times.
You got tired?
No pressure. Progress?
Is it the one?
They say that that is one of the hardest songs in the entire world to sing. And I think our students did an awesome job.
They did.
Also the most moving.
Yeah. Sorry for the pregnant pause and getting everything started. So, the music department's hope is to reach out further to the elementary schools as well as community to join us in the gift of music. On Thursday, May 18th, students and teachers at Memorial School learned about different disabilities through the hands-on activities planned and demonstrated by the Disabilities Awareness Committee. Planning for this well-organized, fun event began in February. Members of this committee planned each of the stations and gathered the materials needed for children to simulate each disability. PTA parents and different organizations came to participate and lead the activities. Thank you to Jen Zima, Jenny Littlefield, and their committee for planning this wonderful event. In sports, the Bears baseball team beat Marlborough and advanced to the second round of the NJSIAA tournament. Boys and girls track compete this weekend in the NJSIAA Central Jersey Group 4 sectional meet at Hillsborough High School. Devin Kusmiter is the GMC champion in the pole vault. Callan Davies is the GMC champion in the high hurdles. We wish all of our athletes good luck as they finish up their seasons. With the school year winding down, I would like to remind everyone of several upcoming important dates. June 2nd will be a single session day for the high school only. The senior prom is on June 2nd. We wish those attending a safe and memorable celebration.
Ruthie's
A
already
little
rocking out.
dancing over there?
Yeah, Ruthie's rocking.
There's always the chance you might not graduate.
Oh, did he say that? He did not say that, Ruthie.
And he's the guy who can do it, babe.
I think he want to keep you another year here. I think what he meant to say is really going to miss you next year a lot.
Yeah.
Good, very good, very good.
The class of 2017 senior award ceremony will be held on Monday, June 5th at 7 p.m. in the East Brunswick High School auditorium. Primary election day on June 6th will be a single session day with no lunch for all students. For school hours, please visit the district website at ebnet.org. Also on June 6th, the high school PTSA will sponsor the annual senior send-off. Senior send-off is one of the several exciting end-of-the-year celebrations for our soon-to-be graduates. The annual athletic awards banquet will be held on June 8th at the Grand Marquis in Old Bridge at 6:30 p.m. East Brunswick High School final exams will take place from June 15th through the 20th. Churchill Junior High School exams are from June 16th through the 21st. Exam days at the high school in Churchill will be single session days. My third State of the District address will take place at 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, June 1st at the JM PAC. Once again, I will share the accomplishments of our district. Following my remarks, our teachers and students will showcase a sampling of innovative classroom practices in the Hammersholt cafeteria. Special thanks to the East Brunswick Education Association and the East Brunswick Principals and Supervisors Association who are partnering with me in this event. I hope to see you all there. I want to wish everyone a very pleasant and safe Memorial Day weekend. Tomorrow is a single session day for all schools with lunch being served for grades K to 7 only. Schools will be closed Monday, May 29th. Please take a moment to remember the significance of this holiday and the sacrifices of our armed service members. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Valesky. Next.